everybody. Happy Friday and welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Sinead DeFries, and this is The Daily Show, where we bring you the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us this morning is your Collider Movie Talk crew. First up, production manager Dennis Tzeng.
Hey, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of Collider Movie Talk. I want to clear some stuff up because I guess in one of the previous episodes, we were talking about the Star Wars commentary you guys had done.
Yeah.
And John was talking about how, and Dennis is going to be gone. Some people tweeted me, thought I was leaving
the show.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not leaving the show.
What a way to announce that. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, Dennis is gone forever.
Yeah. I'm just going on vacation. I'll be gone a couple weeks. I'll be back after Thanksgiving.
Where are you going?
Deal. I'm going to Taiwan and Japan.
Oh.
Nice.
So if there's any Collider Movie Talk fans out there, maybe I'll see you.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Also here, it's Josh Macuga.
Hey, Sinead, what's up, guys? Dennis, we had a great duo show last week with Sinead.
With Sinead and Ghost David.
And Ghost David, but it's it's great to be back.
Yes, and also Kristian Harloff.
I like the fact that Sinead is yelling today.
Am I really? I didn't mean to.
And now she goes all quiet.
Yeah.
It's my kombucha, you guys. It gives me a lot of energy.
All right, I don't know what that means.
Fermented old fruit drink.
With vinegar,
Okay.
it's super
Let's
fun.
drink juice from a shoe with Sinead.
Before we get into the first topic, some news kind of dropped. Kristian, do you want to tell us about this?
Yeah, sure. Every once in a while, I talk about Star Wars. And this is one of the... today, Collider.com did a report. There's been a lot of stuff that has come out with Entertainment Weekly. They keep dropping these new nuggets. And it's interviews. What happened?
Dropping new nuggets.
That's what it is. They dropped a nugget. They dropped a nugget of Star Wars today. And it happened again today because J.J. Abrams was talking to Entertainment Weekly, and there was a little bit of a reveal. This is something that was very interesting when they released that poster. When that poster came out, and we saw that, what was it? Was it a planet? Was it a new Death Star? Everyone's like, oh, it's another Death Star. I'm like, no, it's not another Death Star. Well, guess what? It very much is like a new Death Star, and it's acknowledged as such in the movie. Apparently, another Death Star, Abrams says, but what it's capable of, how it works, and what the threat is far greater than what the Death Star could have done. Starkiller Base is another step forward, technologically speaking, in terms of power. That was the one thing. Then it also went on to explain more about General Hux, played by Donald Gleason, and Kylo Ren. And basically what happened there is that Kylo Ren, we all know, is obsessed with Vader and is like a relic hunter and is striving for power, but so is Donald Gleason. They don't necessarily get along, these two, as from what we're hearing.
Okay, yeah. What do you think about this, Josh?
Well, I mean, how much more powerful can you get than a Death Star? It blew up planets. But it's cool. Listen, you're going to have a cool Death Star in the next Star Wars if you're going to get me on board. I love the idea of bringing back, maybe there's two Death Stars that are combined in some badass double Death Star. I don't know. But I like the fact that there's it's basically two warring brothers in the same kind of gang. You know what I mean? Like when John Gotti took out Castellano in the Gambino crime family. When you're fighting for power and you're inherently evil, things aren't going to work out that well.
Burt Reynolds taking you out for that mustache.
Hey-o.
For me, I think that it scares me a little bit that they're doing another Death Star, because it's like the one positive is that it's 30 years later. At least it wasn't 3 years later, like from Jedi to the first one.
They
built
that real quick.
Yeah, and in regards to what it's going to do, it's going to take out galaxies. I mean, that's the next step of what you can do. It's got to be able to take out full star systems, you would assume. Because that to me is something because even JJ has blown up planets in the Star Trek movie, and the way that he did that was crazy. I mean, that was more, I think, devastating than even Alderaan. Alderaan was just remember the planet just got sucked up. Spock's home. But I want to see what happens, how they're able to evolve that. But in regards to Donald Gleason and Kylo Ren, I like the idea that these guys don't see eye to eye, and that there's just one who's striving power in one particular way, more about selfishness and just becoming a great, a dictator almost, maybe even like Palpatine. And then you got Kylo Ren, who is clearly more about the history and the Sith. And so I like what I'm hearing. I'm just curious about the Death Star.
Yeah, Hux sounds. I like that relationship. Hux being more like the politician. He wants to get more power, where Kylo Ren's more kind of a religious kind of nut in a way. In terms of the Death Star, I don't know. I'm torn because I like the idea of a Death Star, but almost okay. So some of the rumblings about The Force Awakens that's been going around is that people are saying it's great, But what they're also saying is it's very much like the first Star Wars, Episode 4. And is it going to be, now we know this is another Death Star, is it going to be too much? Like I pose this question to you as the resident Star Wars, expert. Is The Force Awakens going to be too much like it?
Let me take this for you. No.
I think that there is look, here's the other thing. You can say the same thing if you wanted to about Creed. Is Creed going to parallel Rocky 1 too much? No, if it's done in the right way, and if you can acknowledge and go, yeah, there's a lot of parallels there, but it stands alone as its own movie. So I'm okay if there's a lot of parallels to Episode 4 and maybe even some of Episode 5, if it's like kind of an homage to all of the movies, the original trilogy. To me, but standing on its own and introducing these new characters, I'd be fine with that. I don't mind it homage as long as it's not beat for beat the same movie. And
also having the Death Star or whatever the Starkiller base,
right,
do something different. It can't just do the exact same beep,
Kyber crystal.
So
I'm with. I agree. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the first topic.
It looks like Fox's Gambit movie may finally have found a new director after Rupert Wyatt left the project a couple months ago. The Hollywood Reporter is claiming that Edge of Tomorrow director Doug Liman is very close to inking a deal to helm the Channing Tatum-led X-Men spin-off film. Other directors that were in consideration were Joe Cornish, Shane Black, and before signing on the Fast and Furious franchise, F. Gary Gray. Gambit is set for a October 7th, 2016 release. Dennis, what do you think of Doug Liman most likely directing the Gambit movie?
We talked about this a few weeks ago when these other names kind of popped in there with Joe Cornish and Shane Black. And even then, I was like, yeah, those names are fine, but I really would like Doug Liman to do it. And so it looks like he's going to, and I think that's a great fit. I mean, he's a really good director. I mean, he started off doing, people don't remember, Swingers. With Jon Favreau. Yeah. Jon Favreau, I mean, everyone associates Jon Favreau with Swingers, him and Vince Vaughn. Jon Favreau wrote that, but Doug Liman actually directed it. And then he went on to do some movies that I enjoyed, like Bourne Identity, the first one, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and obviously Edge of Tomorrow now. And so I think this one is a good fit. What do you think, Kristian?
I think so, too. And you bring up Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Well, guess who you worked with over there, too? Simon Kinberg. We'll be working with Simon Kinberg, I assume, again, even in a consulting type of role, because it is an X-Men story as well, too. I think Liman is perfect for this movie. What I'm worried about, again, is Fox. Because we've heard, but there's been a little bit of a push from Fox on certain directors. It seems like it happened with Rupert. It seems like it happened with Josh Trank. But then again, you can say, well, it happened with Rupert before. This happened twice now with him and Fox because he had Apes the first time, and then whether or not you say left for the Gambler or whatever it was, he left, and then Matt Reeves came in. And I was upset when the news originally happened. I was like, "No, come on! Matt Reeves is fine." But Matt Reeves made a better movie than Rupert Wyatt did. So this is kind of the same way that I hope is going to happen. I love Doug Liman. I love what he did with Edge of Tomorrow. Great movie, great film. And I think he can add something special to it. It's the script, though. What's that script look like?
Josh?
I think Edge of Tomorrow was the best non-franchise kind of action movie of that genre that we've seen in a little while. And you could have really gone in a weird direction with that movie. He could have taken it in a really campy way and made it, like everybody when he was coming out was like, oh, it's going to be like Groundhog Day kind of a thing. Even though Groundhog Day is an amazing movie, you could have done something really bad with that, especially with Tom Cruise and what he can do sometimes. I thought Doug Liman brought that movie to the forefront, and it was fantastic. The Fox thing that you said makes a lot of sense because in a movie like Gambit, which is one of those X-Men that everybody loves, he's always been rumored they want to have him as standalone, and Channing Tatum, who again everybody loves, it's amazing to me that they haven't settled on a director or that people keep bowing out and stuff like that. That's always a sign that the studio's got too much.
I think it's that and script for sure.
Yeah. I'm wondering. Okay, so Edge of Tomorrow, I think eventually after international numbers, either broke even or made even a little bit of money. I know domestically didn't do so well.
Right.
If it had been a much bigger hit, then you would have seen like, okay, well, I would be more confident that with Doug Liman and Fox, he'd be like, no, I just made a ton of money.
I got this.
Yeah, exactly. But now because it was so kind of...
Well, I mean, yes and no, because the other thing with that movie is critically it was a hit as well too, and the respect that it's had around the industry in general has been like that carries a lot of weight.
It does.
That carries a lot of weight. So if he can walk in and be like, "This, look, I just worked with Tom Cruise, and we made a movie that Everyone loved it. It really, it wasn't a matter of people seeing that movie and going, nah. It was a matter of like, I don't want to see Oblivion 2. And then once they saw it, everyone's raving about it. And it's absolutely Doug Liman that was responsible for that. And so I think that Fox could back off a little bit. We'll see.
It is really hard to make a movie that is basically the same thing a bunch of times, you know, and like keep building on that thing. I mean, that was really, really good storytelling from a director.
Yeah, and the name didn't help either.
No.
Edge of Tomorrow. I think he can bring it. Like I watched some of the behind the scenes for Edge of Tomorrow, and they showed like, I guess Tom Cruise is known as like, he just works all the time. So like Doug Liman in preparation, he like started working out, like physically working out, and he was playing like tennis to get ready so he could actually go on set and match Tom Cruise's intensity.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Last night, a new Star Wars The Force Awakens TV spot debuted on ABC. This 1-minute preview is a mix of footage we've seen before in previous trailers and TV spots, and also some never-before-seen shots and dialogue. With the movie being a little over a month away, the amount of new footage released in the past few weeks has been a huge surprise, considering how little was shown before. Star Wars The Force Awakens debuts on December 18th, 2015. Kristian, what stands out to you about this new spot, and are we getting too much new footage?
This movie's horrible. Look, this is the last spot we need. We don't need any more. I would tell you this. I don't think that this spot spoiled anything, regardless. But what I will say is, if you're going to show these many spots, then let's have some more. Let's have some critic screenings, okay? If you're going to show, if it's about keeping it quiet and not having footage shown, then stop, because you're showing everything at this point. But jokes aside, they really aren't doing any spoilers. I think there's no new story details, but as far as what stands out, I would say the fact that you have Finn with that lightsaber, and the fact that the stormtrooper is not just shooting and hitting walls. He's actually using some kind of thing that can block a lightsaber. This kind of goes back into theory. I've been kind of speculating for a bit that I think that stormtroopers have been trained with lightsabers, and with this new technology, it would make sense if you want to evolve your troopers. It seems like they're being evolved. There's another one where we know that shot to where Rey is shooting in the forest after Kylo Ren. Well, it looks like Han Solo is the one who gives her that pistol. So there's a lot of things that were really cool that kind of stood out. There's the stuff that Kylo Ren said about showing them the dark side. That's the first time he's ever said anything about the dark side, at least that we've seen. But that's it. That's all I need. We're done. We don't need any more. No more international trailers. Nothing. We're good. Your tickets are selling. No more.
But don't we keep saying that after every time we see new footage? Didn't we say that after the international trailer?
We said that after the first trailer.
Yeah. We don't need any more.
Yeah,
and then that one dropped. And then, we don't need any more. The TV spot comes out. Now this new one comes out. And like, it's one of those things where, yes, we don't need any more, but if they show it, we're going to watch it.
Right.
Josh?
Yeah, I mean, it's a quick TV spot. It's 1 minute. I do think that my favorite part is when Han gives Rey the gun. That's just awesome.
And it's a gun, not a lightsaber.
No, it's not. It's not a lightsaber. It was a lightsaber. Yeah. No, it's clearly that gun that she shoots at Kylo Ren. Yeah.
Listen, we may say we don't want to see any more footage, and we're okay if they don't show more footage. Fine, but if they put more footage, I want to freaking watch the footage because it looks awesome. And each like that opening shot with the, I mean, come on, what are you laughing at my mustache?
Yeah.
All right,
absolutely, absolutely.
It's part of the dark side.
Hey, Luigi,
come on. Hey, yeah, no, I mean, we're good.
Sinead, do you want to see any more new Star Wars footage?
No, and I'm not like a diehard Star Wars fan like you guys.
Get out!
I'm not, and even I feel like I know a lot that's coming in the movie. But honestly, you have to hand it to them. They clearly know what they're doing, so nobody should doubt that they're giving away the story. No one should be like, oh my God, this is ruining the movie. Because I did see some people say that online after this spot dropped. Even after the international trailer dropped too, people were upset about that. But you guys trust them. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's plenty of footage we haven't seen.
Of course.
Yeah. I like the tone of it. Yeah. All right, now on to buy or sell. Sinead, what do we got up first?
Well, you guys are about to get real excited because according to The Wrap, the next two sequels to the 50 Shades of Grey franchise, 50 Shades Darker and 50 Shades Freed, will be shot back-to-back next year. Also, it looks like they have found a director in James Foley who has agreed to helm both movies. The first film had a budget of $40 million, but went on to make $570 million worldwide. 50 Shades Darker will come to theaters on February 10th, 2017, and 50 Shades Freed finishes the trilogy on February 9th, 2018. Josh, do you buy or sell the two 50 Shades movies being shot back-to-back and James Foley directing both films?
I mean, sure.
You seem pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's another one of these movies.
You cosplayed when you saw the first
one. I mean, if he has a mustache in one of the next two, I'll definitely tune in for it. No, sell these stupid things. Listen, these movies are. I don't understand how this book got popular because it's basically just airport fiction. And then these movies make all this money because girls go and see it. Like, this movie's stupid, but you know they're going to go see the next two. The least they could do is make it like 51 Shades of Grey or 52 Shades of Grey would be kind of funnier than what, you're freeing them from bondage? It wasn't even that much bondage in that stupid movie. I've had better. Sorry, never mind.
Kristian,
I buy it. You know why? Because it means shoot it quick, put it in the theaters, get it out. I don't want to see it anymore. It's like you shoot it fast, you get it out there. But I do buy the director. Look, Glenn Ross, he directed, right? The fact that they got him, it will look better, but guess what? It does not gonna make a lick of difference because you get those two banana heads writing it. Like and like from what we've heard, all reports, the two of them, what we've heard about them is that they've been a nightmare. That's why the first director took off.
Glenn Ross was 20+ years ago, was it not?
Whatever. He's still capable director.
He needs those new leads.
Yeah, exactly. But what we're, as far as these two writers, they have carte blanche. They can say whatever, they can do whatever they want to do. If the director has the best idea, they can go, no, that makes no sense. Let's put shoes on their ears and have them dance in tutus. No, no, you have to, because it's our movie, and that's the problem. And he's the one that's going to take the brunt of the criticism. That's what happened last. That's why the other director said, "No, I'm good. I'm gone." So as far as I'm buying it, because like I said, I want to see them shot quick. It means that we don't have to keep hearing about it and talking about it in this show. That it's like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years before we get another one. It's like we'll see it in 1 year, and then we'll see it in another, and then we're finished.
Yeah, it's already kind of a mistake for them not to have the second one ready for this coming February.
Yep.
I buy it as well, but for different reasons. I just buy it because, one, I like the director choice. I mean, obviously, what you're talking about, it's not going to help. I mean, Sam Taylor Johnson, when I watched the first 50 Shades, which I did not like, it wasn't the direction that was bad. You could actually, if you just take apart the actual story and the writing and all that stuff, it was actually well directed. The problem is you cannot you can't overcome your story and your script, and this is one of those cases. It's like remember one of those Twilight movies, the one David Slade did. I actually thought was well directed. It was just a terrible story. And so this one is the same situation. Sam Taylor Johnson, she leaves. You get another guy who, I guess he's done House of Cards recently.
Yeah, he did 12 episodes of House of Cards.
Yeah, so he's not exactly.
Which there are some sexual moments in House of Cards that are very 50 Shades of Grey-esque.
Right, but the difference is good writing.
Good writing.
Yeah. He also did a movie called The Corruptor with Chow Yun-fat and Mark Wahlberg a while ago. The Corruptor. It was about Chinatown gangs.
Oh, okay. It was a while
ago. I actually enjoyed that. Okay. So I like him as a director. Right. Who knows why he's doing this? Maybe he's getting a paycheck, whatever. Crank him out. Get
your name's
going
to be out there. I mean, you're putting your name out there again for sure. Maybe he's been out of the spotlight for a little while too. And if he can somehow polish this turd a little bit, then maybe he comes out of it like, look, it's still 50 Shades of Grey, but look what he did. At least he made the directing. You can still say the script was terrible, but the directing was on point.
Unless he's like trying to trend towards retirement and get into like softcore Cinemax or something, and this is like his entry into that. I don't know.
All right, Sinead, are you excited to see another 50 Shades of Grey? Since you're such a big fan of the first one.
I'm going to be real honest right now. I have not seen 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, what? Riot.
I put down the book after like 82 pages.
You got that far?
Yeah, I got that far. I tried really hard. I read it on an airplane, actually. So there you go.
And did you use the barf bag? Or was
No, it just was... Like, it's just a joke. It's a joke of a story, and it's like, sure, you can polish a turd, but at the end of the day, it's still a turd. So
there's a lot of turds in that one.
All right, what's next?
New character posters for the upcoming Alex Proyas fantasy film, Gods of Egypt, have been released. The official synopsis for the movie reads, magic, monsters, gods, and madness reign throughout the palaces and pyramids of the Nile River Valley in this action-adventure inspired by the classic mythology of Egypt. With the survival of mankind hanging in the balance, an unexpected hero takes a thrilling journey to save the world and rescue his true love. Set, played by Gerard Butler, the merciless god of darkness, has usurped Egypt's throne, plunging the once peaceful and prosperous empire into chaos and conflict. With only a handful of heroic rebels opposing Set's savage rule, Beck, played by Brenton Thwaites, a bold and defiant mortal, enlists the aid of powerful god Hours, played by Nikolai Coster-Waldau, in an unlikely alliance against the evil overlord. As their breathtaking battle against Set and his henchmen take them into the afterlife and across the heavens, both god and mortal must pass tests of courage and sacrifice if they hope to prevail in the spectacular final confrontation. Gods of Egypt opens February 26, 2016. I have to catch my breath. Yeah. Dennis,
work,
do you
Sinead.
buy
Well done,
or sell?
Dennis.
Thanks, guys. That was
Really good.
That was
Really
a lot
good.
of words. Dennis, do you buy or sell these posters for Gods of Egypt?
I sell them. They look terrible. They look like, I don't know, like I Frankenstein mummy posters. I actually like Alex Proyas as a director. He did The Crow, Dark City.
Yeah.
Even I, Robot, I didn't hate like some other people
I
did.
liked I, Robot.
Knowing I didn't care for. But the fact that they're releasing this in February, we haven't gotten a trailer yet. I'm sure like they've released these posters, so it's coming soon. Maybe it's on right now, but I'm really worried about this. And then nothing to do with Sinead's reading. She did a fantastic job reading it.
Great job.
But that synopsis to me just like, you know, like they start they start talking about it. It's like I don't care about anything that they're talking about. So I sell this. Kristian?
The pictures, the posters themselves, it's hard to buy them. I want the movie to be good because of Proyas, because of the subject matter, because Clash of Titans was garbage. I really want these to be good, and I like the cast. It's a great cast. It's got some great possibility, but these are stupid posters. I mean, it's like going through an amusement park and you're like, yeah, we don't need to go on this ride. Let's go on the other one. It looks, it's got
Josh, are you going on this amusement park ride?
No. I would like to congratulate Sinead on a very dynamic reading of that because that was more entertaining than what I think these movies are going to be. I liked these movies when they were all cast in other movies. Gerard Butler was great as that guy in 300.
Yeah.
Everybody else was great in Clash of the Titans in the same font and same outfits. This movie, are we getting another mythological fantasy movie? These things are bombing. Why did they keep making them? Even the one when everybody was supposed to be Egyptian and Persian,
Exodus?
and they were all Exodus, and they were all white guys.
Yeah.
That movie was dumb. I don't know these movies. I don't know why they keep making these movies. I'm not on board with any of them.
And watch the trailer comes out and it's amazing.
Yeah,
You're
like,
oh
oh,
my
this
god,
movie
looks
is
so
I think we have a
fantastic.
shot. I think we have a shot of the trailer being cool because like all the movies that you were mentioning with Alex Proyas is a really good director. That's why I'm not selling the movie. I mean, I know you guys are taking a big old gut-sized dump on it, but
you dumped as well.
I'm saying as far
They're
as the
just talking about the
movie. I'm talking about the poster.
Oh, you're
No,
talking
we're,
about the
we're
posters.
talking the posters, but I am concerned that it's coming out February 26th.
Yeah, well, I'm not because February 26th. I mean, look, Batman v Superman comes out 2-3 weeks later. Deadpool comes out before that. So February's.
But I found that those are more strategic, though.
But you also, where else is that movie going to fit? It's certainly not going to fit into the summer at this point. This is not like for the competition it's going to go up against in the summer. It's going to get destroyed. You're going to put it in September. It's the same as putting.
If it's really, really good and they know they can market it,
But
they would put it somewhere else.
Not in summer though. Right now, if it's coming, if it was 2017
What about April or May or something right before?
I guarantee you, if you see these posters on a subway station, they're like, "Oh, is there another Clash of the Titans movie?"
Yeah.
It does absolutely, and that's what I thought right away, and that's
It's a
kind of what I'm
sequel.
hoping for. That it's going to be a better version because those movies were not good.
Yeah.
Is it bad? It's not good.
It's not good.
All right,
good and
guys.
terrible.
Before we get into our box office predictions, I want to remind you that we're doing the show live, so we will be taking live Twitter questions from you. Just tweet us at Collider Video. Sinead will pick out a few after we do mailbag, but now we're going to do box office predictions. This is brought to us by our friends at AMC Theatres, where we predict every week who's going to win the box office weekend. We rank them in order. Josh, why don't you go first?
Well, I mean, there's nothing really released this this week that's gonna take the top 2 spots, maybe even the top 3 spots. I'm gonna stick with Spectre, Peanuts, Martian, then the 33 and the Coopers movie.
Okay.
We Are Coopers?
Yeah.
Love the Coopers.
That
should be like
Christian loved the Coopers.
Bury the Coopers.
Yeah.
Christian?
Very similar, actually. I don't know, my voice spiked there. Spectre at number 1, Peanuts at 2, the 33, 3, Love the Coopers, and then finishing out with The Martian.
Okay. I have a little different. I have Spectre number 1, Peanuts number 2, obviously. Martian, yeah, I think it's just holding strong,
man.
Yeah.
There's no competition to take it out.
Not only that, it's a feel-good movie, and people have been recommending it as well. And then I have the 33, which is new. Then instead of Love the Coopers, I have Goosebumps still. I have a feeling like the bad buzz. But isn't like what's
Zero? It was at 0%. I don't know what it is now.
Well, look that up. Well, what is Love the Coopers at right now?
Well, Love the Coopers was at 28, I think. The 33 was at 38%.
Love the Coopers is now at a stellar 19%.
19%.
The 33 is at 39%. And then also look, you have the All American, which is coming out also.
What's Goosebumps at?
Goosebumps is at 74%.
Wow. Sinead, are you looking forward to any of these movies?
I still haven't seen Spectre, and I really want to see it. Regardless of mixed reviews, I still want to see it. I actually like the marketing for Love the Coopers. I mean, I thought it was cute. So
the 33, the trailer is actually pretty good. I just don't. There hasn't been any kind of like buzz about it. I think that's why I don't see it, climbing into a top 2 spot.
No.
Or beating The Martian even at 3.
No, I don't think so. All right, let's move on to mailbag. You can send in your mailbag questions to us at collidervideo@gmail.com, and we pick out some, answer them on Movie Talk Daily, or John answers them on mailbag on the weekends. Sinead, what do we got first?
Brian writes, "Hi team, love the show. If Steven Spielberg said, 'Hey, do you want to come over to my house and watch said movie?' Which movie would you refuse to watch?"
For me, Transformers 4 Age of Extinction, for 2 reasons. One, watching that movie makes my head hurt. It's a terrible movie. It's an abomination.
Ellis got physically ill.
A crime. It's a crime against film, that movie.
Oh,
2, Steven Spielberg is executive producer of that film.
Weird.
So you would go over there and watch it with him, and I'm not going to lie to him, but at the same time, I would try to hide my disgust with the film. I would just, oh, is it good? Oh, yeah, no, I got to go to the bathroom right now. So that would be for me. Christian?
Well, if we're going to one of his movies, not the Last Crusade, the Crystal Skull, wouldn't be able to watch that with him. It'd be tough to watch with him. I could watch that with other people probably, but just not him. I definitely couldn't watch Nymphomaniac 1 or 2 with him. It'd be really weird. Be watching it with your pops, and then you look over and he's like, "That's a good scene." I'm like, "Well, I'm out of here." Close Encounters, and then you have, and I think the other one would be either Freddy Got Fingered.
You don't like Freddy Got Fingered?
I hate it. And Irreversible is a great movie, but I watched it once, never have to watch it again. I don't care who is going to be watching it with me. I'm not watching Irreversible ever again.
Josh?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this before. If Steven Spielberg invites you over to his house to watch a movie, I would be like, well, whatever you want to do, Steve, me and you, just hanging out. But if he was like, let's get together in a dark room and watch Requiem for a Dream, I'm like, you can't really do that. That's super depressing. Or if it was, but if you were saying one of his movies, listen, if he recommended Crystal Skull and I was in the room, I would have to really restrain myself from going over there and be like, why did you do this to me? This is my favorite trilogy as a kid, and you ruined everything. You put him in a friggin' refrigerator in a nuclear blast.
Yeah. Could you ever watch a movie with Tobey Maguire?
You have to bring that up here. Come on, man.
Sinead, as someone who has mentioned before that you've watched some uncomfortable movies and TV shows with your parents, what would be a movie that you wouldn't want to watch with Steven
I have said
Spielberg?
that quite a few times.
Yes.
Huh?
Like, don't you watch like Game of Thrones with your parents or something like that? Or something along those lines?
I think the big one was I watched the unrated 40-Year-Old Virgin with my parents when I was like 12. But yeah, no, it's something we just happen to find ourselves in those uncomfortable situations. But Steven Spielberg, no, I don't think I would. I feel like I would feel stupid. This is honest. I would feel stupid telling Steven Spielberg I didn't want to watch a movie with him, because I feel like he'd be like, "What are you talking about? That movie is great," and I would just be wrong.
But no. What if he named something that was absolute garbage that you refused to watch? Like, what's a movie out there that you're like, I never want to see that movie again. You can't pay me enough money to see that movie.
You guys, I don't know if there is a movie like that.
You can sit through anything, no matter what it is. Watch Irreversible.
You are that agreeable to the situation. You'll sit through any movie.
You watch Irreversible.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would sit through it. Yeah, like I can hate movies after I'm done watching them, but it's not like in me just to be like, oh my gosh, never again, ever.
I think a Serbian movie would be another one.
Or maybe like porn. I wouldn't watch porn with Steven Spielberg.
Like there's a movie called I think it's called A Serbian Movie. I've heard a lot of things about it that just hearing about it.
What's Irreversible? I haven't seen this movie.
Monica Bellucci. It is a really dark, kind of twisted film, and there's very graphic scenes that you don't ever want to watch again.
Gotcha.
All right, what's next?
Edward writes, I'm one of your fans from Taiwan. I love the show.
There you go, Dennis.
My question is, what if George Lucas was not the one who changed the cinematic industry? If the first Star Wars movie didn't come out in 1977, but instead came out last year, would Star Wars still be as popular as it is now?
Well, I'm glad that people from Taiwan are watching because that's where my parents are from, and I'm going to be visiting there soon.
And Wendy's too.
In terms of his question, no, it wouldn't be as popular as it is now. It would be popular. People would love it. It would come out. People would still love it. There'd be a huge following for it, but it wouldn't be kind of this cultural phenomenon that it is now. However, I guess the one question, though, is would the movie industry be the way it is without Star Wars? So if you take Star Wars out of the equation, it's like, I don't think we would have what we have now. So it's kind of tough to answer. No, it wouldn't be as big, but it never would be like it is now without it. So, Kristian?
It's like Marty McFly never going back to save himself. Like if he wouldn't exist, and this industry would not exist the way it is right now. It'd be a totally. You remember when in 1977 when those movies were made? Besides everything that was so revolutionary about them, the tone of movies at the time was all depressing. Chinatown and all these like kind of not that wouldn't have changed eventually, but remember what ILM has done. Remember what all these effects have done. Pixar came out of Star Wars. I mean, so what we have today, it all came out of Star Wars. Like all the filmmakers that you ask a lot of filmmakers, what are the movies that inspired you? First choice of them, a lot is Star Wars. Star Wars changed my life. Star Wars made me realize what movies are. It would be a totally different industry if it came out today. Who knows? Because who knows what would have happened? You know, it's like sliding doors. Who the hell knows what would have happened from that time period from '77 up until now to where they were waiting for a Star Wars, and then finally Star Wars came again. Who knows?
I also think what it did, and you know, I guess because we're so inundated with a lot of different things. If there was a movie to come out now called Star Wars, you'd be like, oh, it's taken off of Star Trek, or maybe we would just be a little more skeptical of the whole situation. What I think it did so well. Like you said, Kristian, the 70s, if you guys watch Fargo right now on TV, it takes place in 1979. And there's so much going on in the United States that's negative. And there's so many, like, just bad things going on, or right after Vietnam. And it's just a weird time to be in the United States. And George Lucas created this world that not only seemed plausible, but it was such a cool distant reality that everybody was like, this seems like a really cool thing to aspire to, even if it's not possible, some sort of bright light at the end of the tunnel. Not only did it do that, but it gave us the thought of trilogies, right? It gave us these epic trilogies, because when Empire Strikes Back ends, it's not a full movie for the most part. You're waiting. Like, it ends cliffhanger-wise. I mean, you're waiting for that third movie. There's a lot of times now where a lot of these trilogies keep you on those cliffhangers, like Lord of the Rings. You're waiting for Return of the King. That's a beautiful thing what they did. 3 movies all encapsulated in one giant epic movie. It's pretty awesome.
And what year did Jaws come out?
75.
75. So I feel like with Jaws and Star Wars, that was kind of like the 1-2 punch that captivated like the whole summer.
Man.
The blockbuster summer movie season. And then, like you said, with the trilogy, it's like franchises and sequels and all that stuff. All that stuff was not something that people were doing, but then they saw the success of Star Wars, and then now look, everything's almost a franchise or a sequel or trilogy or 4 movies, 5. What is it? Transformers. We're gonna get like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or whatever. Fast and the Furious, where we're gonna get 10, 11, 12, all those things.
Right.
All right. What's next?
The movie, I think I'm saying this right, the movie Makesh writes, "Hello, Collider crew. I love the show and watch it every day. My question is about good and bad actors. I always get confused when people say this person is an actor or actress, that's good or bad, but aren't they just doing what and how the director asked of them? I like to think that there are no bad actors. I think it's the director's fault that he or she didn't pull off the best from their actors. For example, if Leonardo DiCaprio played in a movie and it turns out to be really, really bad, wouldn't that be the director's fault that he couldn't pull the best out of Leo? What are your thoughts?"
Unfortunately, there are bad actors. I mean, yeah, the director is responsible for pulling out a good performance from an actor. We've seen, you know, we mentioned the prequels a lot. We talk about George Lucas didn't pull out performances out of his actors. However, there's a limit to it. It's much like sports, right? You got a coach and you have a team. You got the team that has different amounts of talent on it. So you have a LeBron James, you don't really have to coach him too much, you know? He can handle it. But you got a lesser known player or someone that's not as skilled, you try and coach him up as best as possible, but they only can go so far. So that's how I feel directors are. They can only they try and bring out the best out of them, but they can only get to whatever their limit is. And some people's limits are very, very low. Some are very, very high.
Listen, you can go and watch some awful movies on Netflix. I mean, there is just a array of them, and you can watch bad acting at its finest. There's a reason why a lot of these actors are as successful as they are. I kind of always said this. Acting is a lot like breakfast food. Everybody can make breakfast food. It's really hard to make a really good breakfast. That's why those breakfast places stay open for a long time. That's why these actors keep doing amazing movies. Directors can really bring some awesome things out of it, but listen, Daniel Day-Lewis became Abraham Lincoln. Right. He was the last of the Mohicans, right? The director is just kind of writing the ship as they're going along. He's a Daniel Day, go and do your thing. There's bad actors.
Look, I'm not going to say that there's not cases to where, like you're saying, Dan, where there's a director that has, like, I mean, let's go back to the prequels here. Like Natalie Portman, solid actress. I mean,
Oscar-winning actress.
Oscar-winning actress, to where you can not only blame maybe George Lucas for that, but as she wasn't very comfortable in front of the green screen. She wasn't. There are certain circumstances. I mean, look at a guy like, we talked about Back to the Future before. Look at Eric Stoltz, right? Eric Stoltz is a good actor, but in the role of Marty McFly, he didn't work, and it wasn't because of Robert Zemeckis. It was because he didn't work.
Not a right fit.
Didn't work. Didn't have the instincts for that role. It didn't work. So it's a mixture. There are certain cases for sure where the director could be working with actors, but throwing another Star Wars reference at you too is where you get someone like Harrison Ford in episode 4. Harrison Ford doesn't need George Lucas to tell him how to be. His instincts kick in and he becomes Han Solo. He'll give him a direction as far as, well, he's kind of this character. Great, let me do my research. I mean, that's what a really good actor does, is the research, putting together the backstory, and there's different processes and techniques. If everybody was a good actor, then I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd be acting. So it's, you know, there are some terrible actors.
The pilot of Full House isn't Bob Saget. He's not Danny Tanner. It's another guy.
Right.
So,
oh, is that true?
Yeah.
I don't know how you referenced that, but
like out of all the performances,
I had to take away from Star Wars.
That's true. I get it.
There's another wrench to this equation, though, is dialogue. Because a lot of times I've watched movies where there's poorly written dialogue that an actor tries to deliver as best as they can, and you'll hear other people, oh, that guy was terrible. It's like, no, he wasn't terrible. He got some really badly written dialogue that he tried to elevate, but he just couldn't. So it's a bunch of different things in the mix, but there are unfortunately bad, just like there's bad directors. Yep. There's bad screenwriters. There's bad everything.
Good pitching beats good hitting any day of the week. So you can be Leonardo DiCaprio, but if you're reading crap, it's not going to be that good.
Okay, I don't know where that came from at all, but
good pitching in baseball. It's a baseball
What the hell did you even just say?
The last two references, I just.
All right.
Well, your mustache does look like a pitching mound.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
All right, guys. So that's it with Mailbag. Now onto your live Twitter questions. You can tweet us at Collider Video. Sinead, what do you got picked out?
All right. Zane tweets, what's going on with Daniel Day-Lewis? I haven't heard or seen anything from him since 2012 in Lincoln.
He doesn't do a lot of movies.
When he does, he comes out firing. That's he's preparing for it.
Yeah, he goes. Where does he? He lives in Europe somewhere.
He cobbles shoes.
Yeah, cobbles shoes.
Does he really? It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, he doesn't. For him to come out to do a movie, it's like once every 4 or 5 years, and he has to really, really believe in it. And he also has to, because he's so method. Like with Abraham Lincoln, he studies it.
Right.
I heard he practiced that voice he did for like a year. You know, he's like practicing. I mean, you're right about his performance. It felt like they took a time machine, went back in time, grabbed Abraham Lincoln, said, "Hey, you're going to act in your own movie." That's how good he was.
It is, and the thing is, a lot of people don't realize is that he's actually, you probably have seen him, whether or not he's playing a lamppost or whatever he's playing. He's out there right now doing something.
He's
there.
waiting.
Yeah, no, he's the best. I mean, when he does come back, it's like you guys say, he's prepping. There's a role that he's out there, he's circling, and he's a chameleon. It's not even that he's necessarily practicing; it's he's becoming whatever it is he's supposed to do. I would put him up there as one of the best of all time, like next to Brando and all these guys. He's like one of the best of all time.
He, you know, you watch him in Last of the Mohicans, then you see him in Gangs of New York, and you see him in Lincoln. You don't even recognize him as those three guys, right? And you gotta imagine that there's people out there that have a script in development. They're like, Daniel Day-Lewis would be perfect for this role, and like you have to go to the jungles of Burma, like Jay Peterman and Seinfeld, to find him, and they find him like assimilating himself in some random tribe that nobody's ever seen before, and he's hunting piranha with a spear that he's made out of shoelaces and wood. You don't know, like this guy is a chameleon.
It's the next
literally.
movie, Shoelaces and Wood.
Shoelaces and Wood. Yeah.
So yeah, I got your Seinfeld reference.
Come on,
You're back.
where's Daniel Day-Lewis? Let's figure it out.
All right, what's next?
Jay tweets, when are we getting an Independence Day trailer?
Oh, when is that coming out again?
2016.
Next year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Independence Day, 2016.
Yeah. So,
There's a strategy to it, man. Like as far as because this goes back to our conversation with whatever that silly movie is that we were talking about the
Gods and
posters. Yeah,
Lightning.
It's a matter of you've got to look. We're talking about when the Batman v Superman trailer is going to land. We're talking about when all these X-Men Apocalypse is going to land. It will probably be, I think, a good tease. It comes out in July, right, Sinead?
I'm looking it up right now.
No, I would assume
June
so.
24th.
June.
Oh,
okay,
wow.
June, July makes sense. So you're
that's my
probably
birthday.
going to get a drop for that movie, I'd say, in January, February.
yeah. And also, you know what?
Super Bowl.
What's the point?
That Super Bowl's a great
What's
call.
the point of putting out now? You got to get past this Star Wars hump,
Yeah.
That's
right?
right, yeah.
That's all anyone's talking about.
Unless you want to capitalize on Star Wars with putting it in the trailers that we were talking yesterday. I don't think that'll happen. I think you're going to get these other movies like Civil War and Batman
I
v
think
Superman.
those movies, they're different enough where we're not like Independence Day, Star Wars, but it's a science fiction thing.
But that's why you
But it's a
want to
cult
do that,
classic,
though.
too.
But it's going to look so cheap next to Star Wars.
That's a
like
good
it's
reason.
going to pale in comparison. All right, what's next?
Mr. Mac Cheese tweets, would you watch an Elf 2?
Oh, yeah. I like the first Elf. Jon Favreau directed that. I think that was his maybe second movie he did. He did Made first.
Yeah.
And then I think he did Elf. And that kind of catapulted him as a director in terms of getting that Iron Man gig. Yeah, I like that. That was Zooey Deschanel and Will Ferrell.
Yeah. I loved the first Elf.
Yeah.
I'll watch another one. Absolutely. Fantastic.
It always makes me nervous, just like I said yesterday too, because like how many comedy sequels can you name that were good? It's really hard to do, and I would hate for the momentum for Favreau to go away right now because he's working on. I want to see him kind of go. Like I said, he's doing Jungle Book, which looks incredible. He's been circling. Rumors are they circling an anthology movie for Star Wars, which I'd love to see. If he came back to comedy after doing that with Will Ferrell, Will Ferrell's what, push 50, 55? He could do it. There's no doubt about it. But what's the story?
All right, Sinead.
Alexander tweets, with the hilarious failure of Gem and the Holograms, is this only a precursor of things to come for the Power Rangers movie?
I don't know. I mean, I think the Power Rangers. I mean, Gem and the Holograms was, I think, in the 80s.
Yeah.
So Power Rangers, at least, or more recent, wasn't my generation. And Gem and the Holograms is actually when I was growing up. I don't think so, but it may fail for many other different reasons.
Power Rangers has been around forever.
Yeah.
Like my little nephew's 3. He was a Power Ranger for Halloween. So that's still out there. Nobody's really even talked about Gem and the Holograms since 90.
Yeah, but there's a difference here, though, is that if Power Rangers makes the same mistake as Gem and the Holograms, and not making a movie for the people who watched it, if they make a completely different movie that someone who's seen the show and is familiar with the show gets excited for the trailer, and you're like, what? That's just a retelling of a Saved by the Bell episode. Or it's like, what are we doing? I don't want to see that. The core audience, let's try to get some new young girls who have no idea who the hell Jem is. That's why that movie failed. It was horrible. It was written terribly. The director did a horrendous job on it. Now, not saying that Power Rangers won't have that same problem, but they have. It looks like they're going to go more towards the core audience of. You said your cousin, I guess, watched it. So, like people who watch this show. As long as they go towards that audience, it should do good.
And also, the younger generation already had their Jem in the Holograms. It was called Hannah Montana. They just ripped that off and made that.
Yep.
Sinead, are you excited for a Power Rangers movie? Was that part of your growing up?
Power Rangers was, I mean, I grew up with it 100%. I had actually never heard of Jem and the Holograms until more recently. Yeah. But my old roommate, actually, he was obsessed with that show. So I know that he was so disappointed when it came out. So I feel like with Power Rangers, it has more potential only because it is more relevant. But I think it'll be equally as disappointing if it bombs.
What was, who tweeted that? What was that guy's name? Alex? Because he gave us an awesome phrase of hilarious failure.
Alexander Burton.
That was awesome. Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Josh tweets, "Hey, happy Friday. Is there any updates on the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea remake? It's such an amazing story."
I haven't heard anything.
That's been circling. That's been around.
We talked about that like 9 months ago.
Who is it? Who's attached
years
to
ago
it?
too. I mean, there's been so many people attached to it over the years.
It was a big director.
It was Fincher, maybe. I don't know. I don't know who it was, but I mean, I know there's been so many names. Again, like when I years ago when I worked in development at Warner Brothers, like there was talking about 20 Leagues Under the Sea, how to crack it, getting all the top writers to do it. This will happen eventually. Now, if it happens in a year or 2 years or in 10 years, it's going to happen eventually.
I mean, the last time we even saw a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea movie, the animation and the effects look like a Wes Anderson, Steve Zissou effect. Right. So, I mean, it's a long time coming. It's an amazing story. The fact that we got a Moby Dick story before we got a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea story, that's a little mind-boggling to me.
This says September 17th, Variety said that Bryan Singer picked up 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Plans to direct it after David Fincher pulled out. David Fincher original. It says that he pulled out, but Bryan's
stop.
Shut up. Bryan Singer picked it up as of Variety reported this in September. I could punch you.
Who, me?
Yes.
What did I do?
I'm so sure.
She's just looking at your mustache. That's
someone
that's
tweeted.
cause enough.
You wouldn't get this, but somebody actually tweeted. Christopher tweeted, "Why is the Christmas bush sitting under Josh's nose?"
Yes, nicely done.
Nice. Yeah. Where's the poster for that?
Yeah.
In a theater that we can't get into.
Another thing to think of though with 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is there was another piece of news that came out I think yesterday. Paul Thomas Anderson I think is dropping out of that Pinocchio live action adaptation.
Well, he was just writing it at first too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was writing and I think he was going to direct and now he's dropped out and I don't know if they're going to use his script. However, some people are saying this is a reaction to what happened with Pan. Because Pan, you had someone, a pretty big star in Hugh Jackman. Yeah. Pan is a well-known, well-loved literary, icon. And now 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, it's kind of these things where now studios are getting scared, like, oh wow, maybe people don't want to see these things.
I hate that rationale though. I really hate it because it's like,
but that's what studios do.
I know that they do. I know they've been doing it forever, and it's just a matter of it's like they look at the numbers and they crunch the numbers. They go, well, that didn't perform the way it was, so nobody wants to see space movies. And then a space movie comes out. Everybody together the right writers and the right scripts and the right directors and the right talent. That's how people go to see movies. Put together, whether it's an original story or even if it's a remade story, it's fine. Like, look, with going back to Pinocchio, this is something that Robert Downey Jr. really wants to do. This is his creative team that really wants to do something as well too. So whoever he's going after, that now they could certainly say, it could be a factor in going, look, with Robert Downey Jr., your movies have not really pulled besides Iron Man. I understand it, but it's also if you find a script next and you read it and you go, this script is really good, it should be like, okay, let's take the risk here as opposed to going, well, that Pan didn't do that well because they were singing Teen Spirit in the movie. That's why it was terrible. Whoever decided on that should go away on vacation and never come back.
But studios are risk averse in general.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there are certain, movies or projects that they do take risks on, but most of the time that's why they are reactionary. Right. They're always like, oh, this movie's big, let's do that.
Right.
Morons.
With
there's also too it's curse of title. So if they name it 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and it looks a little too much like Gods and Kings and Gerard Butler, then it's not gonna do that well.
Well, I mean, you can still have I mean, that poster doesn't mean the movie's gonna do bad though. I mean, it depends on the trailer. Sure. It certainly has that. It's certainly a whole bunch of the marketing that comes with it, because you go back to Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah. Terrible posters, terrible trailers. Okay, overall box office, phenomenal movie. So it's just it's a mixture of things.
Okay, all right. What's next?
Andrew tweets, "Hey guys, love the show. My question is, what are you looking forward to in Affleck's performance in Batman v Superman? Any key points that he needs to hit?"
Well, I mean, he's going for a more older, gristled, veteran Batman. So I'm hoping, he gets that tone down. You know, more of a lot of like anger inside, that type of emotion.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely what I want to see from him. And I think Ben Affleck has not only proven himself as one of the best directors in the business right now, but he has stepped up his game with acting. And I'll be the first to say, when he was announced as Batman, I was like, nope, no thanks. I've seen Daredevil.
You and the whole internet.
No, I've seen his past stuff. What was the other one? Reindeer Games. I'm good. But that was unfair, because he has evolved, and he's also going through some stuff with his own life that he takes that with him. And Batman needs to have that anger and that kind of, there's the emotion that he brings out, and he's been doing it more. So I would love to see that as Batman, but I also love to see like an understanding, because we know that they're going to team up eventually. They have to for Justice League. So I want to see that evolution, how they become buddies.
I always like, the Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon, or the Tom Berenger in Major League. It's like one more go around for the championship.
Right.
There's something sexy and like gritty at the same time about that thought, and I like that that's the direction of this Batman, and I think that the audience are really going to respond to Ben Affleck. I really think we undersold him when he got announced, but now
I agree.
Yeah.
I always thought Ben Affleck was a good actor, especially when he came out in Good Will Hunting. It wasn't the lead role, but it was a supporting role. I think he got caught up with the fame, and then okay, I'm gonna do this for my career.
Right.
Like what was like Pearl Harbor or whatever.
Yeah,
Armageddon.
he made a joke about he would take those big studio movies as where Matt Damon did the opposite, to where he would do some studio movies, but he would go and do something like The Rainmaker or Swing Around to Rounders, and he'd start
Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah, like all that stuff, to where he'd build up that you took him serious as an actor, as where Ben Affleck took the movie star route. Like he just took the cash, and he admits it, and then we've seen a totally different side of him, to now it's a blend of the big studio movie with what he's accomplished as a director.
Which I love which is weird, because they kind of didn't really take their own advice until later. In Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, there's a scene, where there's Good Will Hunting 2, the hunting season. They have Ben Affleck and Matt Damon talking. He's like, oh yeah, one for them, one for you. Right. Then they kind of took that on later, because Matt Damon did kind of do more of the indie route, and he couldn't get any work in the big studio stuff, and then Ben Affleck took only the studio stuff, and then he couldn't get taken seriously as an actor. So now they're both kind of where they're doing both. Yeah,
and Matt Damon's done something too, to where even his big budget studio movies have like depth to them. And look at the Bourne series, and then we're coming back, we're getting another Bourne movie with him too. So like they both have done it really, really well, and how they've structured their careers.
And just killed it with The Martian. His performance and the movie is it's phenomenal. All right, let's do two more.
Calvin tweets, would you rather see The Force Awakens in 2D or 3D?
I'm a 2D guy. I like 2D. 3D doesn't really do it for me. It doesn't make the movie-going experience that much better. It doesn't enhance it for me. Give me the big screen in 2D.
Normally I'm under that philosophy, but I think that there's something about, obviously seeing it in IMAX, and now everything's built out in IMAX 3D. Something about seeing the Millennium Falcon in 3D that sounds pretty cool. In space as well too, and it depends on the conversion. It depends on how it seems like they're going to put all the stops and spend all the money to make it the best conversion. And I don't think any of it was shot in 3D. I think it was all shot there was some shot in IMAX for sure.
Yeah.
Now I don't need to see it in 3D, but I'm going to see it about 4 billion times in the theater. So one of those times will be in 3D, and if I enjoy it, I'll see it again in 3D.
Yeah, I'm not a person that hates 3D, but I think it gets overused, and not a lot of movies take advantage of it. And so there's only certain ones that it works for. I don't think this one is one. I think this one is purely because they want to make more money off of it. I don't think JJ's sitting there, okay, I'm going to design, like when James Cameron did Avatar, he designed everything to be 3D. I don't think JJ Abrams really thought about that.
Right.
So that's why I'm seeing it in 2D the first night. But you're right, Kristian. We're going to see it multiple times. So I'll see it in 3D. I'll see it in 2D. The Sinead, what would you prefer, 2D or 3D? I think I know the answer to this one.
I hate 3D. Hate it. Makes me sick. Makes me want to throw up everywhere. Yeah. So 2D.
All right, let's do
so
one more question.
There's a chance.
Ryan tweets. That was perfect.
Thanks.
Ryan tweets, what do you guys think of The Martian competing in the comedy category at the Golden Globes?
Stupid.
Yeah, we just heard about that.
I thought that was like a joke tweet.
I know. I asked Wendy before the show, isn't that a joke?
No, it's real.
But it's real.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why is because, and we were talking about this beforehand, is that they don't know where to put everything. They want to make sure everything's nominated. They want everybody to come to their award show. They don't care, and it's just a party. The Golden Globes. It's a fun show, but they're gonna. You can say, and if you wanted to argue that that movie has comedic elements. Okay, fine. It does. It's more of a drama, but it absolutely has some comedic elements. And then they're saying that Jennifer Lawrence, David O. Russell is also, and that does that. Oh man, that looks like a gut buster. So I mean, I don't know.
Nothing says comedy like David O. Russell and Jennifer Lawrence. I think isn't the category like live action musical comedy or something like that? Yes. So it's like everything that isn't a drama of sorts is nominated in this category. Right. So. Sure, and I hope it wins. I hope it's not The Tourist 2 starring Johnny Depp.
Silver Linings Playbook also fall under the comedy category for the Golden Globes that year?
Yeah, it should also show you that there's no good communities out there right now.
Yeah.
Trainwreck was a good comedy.
Yeah, and it'll get nominated.
The best one I saw.
And it'll get nominated. I mean, there's probably about, and it goes to reaching. It's like, name 5 good comedies this year. Please comment right now. What are 5 good comedies this year?
When was MacGruber
not animated?
What? When was MacGruber made?
Exactly. So it's tough, and so we got to put something in there.
Oh, you saw The Night Before though. Oh, both of you saw The Night Before.
Yeah.
The Night Before should absolutely be nominated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So does that mean that The Martian just wins? Do we all just know it's going to win?
No, the thing that's ridiculous about that
necessarily.
Category, though, is, okay, you put up a comedy. One, that's not even a comedy. You take something like that, and then you put it up against, let's say, a musical. Hypothetically, let's say Into the Woods came out and was nominated. How do you judge The Martian versus Into the Woods if they were in the same category?
Right.
Yeah, it's just weird and strange, and I think they just want more categories.
I agreed.
Okay. All right, guys. That's it for today's episode. I want to thank the people joining me at this table. Josh, where can people find you?
They can find me here on Collider Video, hosting the Arrow recap show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and The Walking Dead, and at Josh Macuga on Twitter and Instagram, and my YouTube channel, Between These Sheets TV. I'm growing this mustache for a charity. I'm not growing it to look like an idiot. Movember.com, donate to the cause.
Right.
Yes, to look creepy.
Kristian?
Thank you, officer. You can find me at Kristian Harloff, both on Twitter and Instagram, and on the Rebels recap show, as well as Collider Jedi Council. If you didn't watch yesterday's episode, it is up right now. They have been really some great comments from you guys out there, and we've gotten a lot of great tweets. Hashtag Collider Jedi Council, and we'll try to get some of your questions on the air next week.
And to our resident bad girl, Sinead Jeffrey. Where can people find you?
I had that song stuck in my head all night after you posted it on my Facebook.
You're welcome.
I'm online, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Sinead DeFries, and at thatsosinead.com.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero or on Instagram, Dennis.tzng. And I think this will be my last movie talk for a couple weeks, so I'll be back.
You're leaving the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, don't forget to subscribe to Collider on YouTube, youtube.com/Collider videos, and we will see you guys next week.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.